Should be live.
Should be live. All right, let me look at your channel. Yeah, it's live.
Is the stream running smooth?
Looks like it, yeah.
Alright. My notifications are blowing up for some reason. Alright. Okay, yeah. Stream, we're back. I really hope that my light is fine now. But yeah, I'm sorry to everybody who has had to go through this annoying thing. I had no control over anything that just happened. Okay. I'm gonna tweet. There we go. I tweeted the thing out.
Alright.
And okay. Perfect. So let's just continue where we left off.
Yeah, I'm down.
I don't know if I should unless the last one. I'll probably merge both of these. I don't know.
You'll merge both?
But there we go. Alright, so we were talking about, what do you think is the most important aspect of an edit?
I think immersion is the most important aspect of editing, like being immersed into the edit, you know? Like the atmosphere of the edit and like overall just the execution, because like, you know, like me, like I said earlier, like me for example, I don't really have the execution down, you know. Like I can try and do something creative, but like execution wise and atmosphere and like being able to get people immersed, that's the challenging part. And I think if an editor like is able to do that, you know, that takes a lot of skill and a lot of practice, and you know, for sure it's definitely one of the hardest things to get perfect, you know.
Okay, but obviously there's factors to getting your viewer immersed into your edit. Like, if the video doesn't have good flow, you're getting distracted over and over. If the scene selection isn't good, if the angles aren't well thought, obviously all of that matters. So basically that is the whole point. Like, what is, in your opinion, the most important part? Like, is it flow, is it execution, or is it how it's like how creative the person's been? What in that sense is important for the edit?
Yeah, I think it's execution, but also like mixed with like some creativity, you know. And you know, flow obviously helps, you know, but I've seen some edits that can get you immersed that don't really have good flow. But like, well, not necessarily not good flow, but like, you know, the flow could be better, you know. But like for sure, I think it's all execution, you know, like just being immersed into the edit, you know, having that atmosphere, having a build up, you know, because like, you know, there's a lot of good edits with flow, but like I feel like there's too many flow edits, you know, like so many edits will focus on flow and rather than immersion. And you know, you can be immersed into a flow edit. It all just depends on the person, that, you know, the viewer. And yeah.
Okay. What are, in your opinion, the worst mistakes an editor could make? It could be career-wise, it could be in editing, like anything. The worst
mistake?
Yeah.
Let me think.
It can be about anything: communication with a client, networking yourself, editing in general, just any mistakes that you think are really bad for an editor's career.
I think overthinking the edit, you know, like overthinking like what I need to do, you know, because I feel like that'll just stress them out, you know, especially like with client work too, you know. If you're struggling, you know, trying to keep up with client work, I feel like that's just going to lead to your downfall. But it can also be another common editing mistake I see is editors will like, some people will take, I think editing should be taken seriously, but it depends on like what aspect of, like what part should be taken seriously. I don't think, I feel like a lot of editors, or not a lot, but like some editors will be super judgmental when it comes to like, what they think is the best for, like people will think that what they think is the best is the best, when in reality it's not really what that's the best, because it's all their subjective opinion. Everyone can have their own different thoughts and their own different, everyone has their own different tastes and stuff. And I feel like if you overthink that too much, if you overthink, what you consider to be a good edit and overshadow and portray it over other people, that's just going to lead to a lot of conflict, a lot of, and that'll eventually just stress someone out, and then it'll lead to their downfall.
That's a good point. All right. So if someone wants to start editing, what mindset and what goals should they adopt, in your opinion? Like we talked about what you'd say to help them, any tips you'd give them, but what mindset do you think is the most positive for an editor? Something that'll take them very far.
I think the best mindset is to be fully like engaged and immersed. I know I say immersed a lot, but like to be engaged in the editing, like enjoy, like to genuinely enjoy what you're doing, because if you're editing client work and you don't enjoy it, it's probably not going to come out the best it can be. But like if you're editing to clips that you really enjoy and you're editing to a song, I feel like song is really important, like the music. If you're editing to music that you genuinely do enjoy, your outcome's going to be a lot more better.
Alright, this is kind of a meme, but also a pretty controversial question. After Effects or Sony Vegas?
I use both. I think Sony Vegas is superior for SFX, and then After Effects I feel like just has more, more features than Sony Vegas. Like, there's a lot of 3D camera stuff you can do in After Effects, but I say After Effects for effects and Vegas for sound effects.
So if you make an edit, I know a lot of editors that do this, that edit their whole thing in After Effects, and then just for SFX they render a 480p version of their edit and then do the SFX in Vegas and then export the SFX back to After Effects and then do the final render.
Yeah.
Can you do that?
Yeah, that's what I do.
Okay. That's actually pretty. I tried doing SFX on Vegas, but I still need like to learn how to make SFX as good as they can be with the potential they have. Okay,
yeah.
Welcome back, everybody. Yep. All right. So this is something that I asked a lot of people, and I only ask this to people that are crucially, like, they have standards about their edits. But the question basically is, or this is more of a topic. Everyone has their own personal standard for like edits in general. What if you finish an edit and you don't personally like it, or maybe it's up to your standards, but you show it to friends and they love it. They're like, this is great. What would you do in that situation? Would you go ahead with the edit, like would you deliver it to a client or whatever? Would you upload it, or would you take your time with it and either scrap it or work more on it?
See, I started uploading scraps more now. Like I recently just uploaded a scrap show, and I'm gonna be honest, like I said in the first part earlier, I'm actually a really sensitive person. So like criticism, like not criticism, sorry, but like I guess just people roasting, that pretty negatively affects me. So like most of the time, like if you were to ask me the same question a year ago, I'd say like there's no way I'm uploading an edit if it's not up to my own standards, because I feel like it'll just get backlash. And now I don't really care what other people think as much. I just do whatever I think is best. And now if I don't think it's up to standards but everyone else enjoys it, then I'll upload it, and I'll deliver it to a client if Alright. So, you said you had a degree in what, GD? I'm not really sure. Yeah, GED.
What is that exactly?
So it's basically what happened was, in high school I went to a film school, but the film school wasn't, it wasn't the best film school. It was like an okay film school, and I didn't really enjoy it. And I ended up, so what happened was, I had, it's a long story, but I struggled with like severe depression, severe anxiety, suicidal thoughts, and so I dropped out of high school, and then I got my high school equivalency, which is a GED, which is essentially just like, it's basically just like a high school diploma, but it's not a high school diploma. You don't need to attend 4 years. You can get it if you pass the test, basically.
Oh, okay. So basically, this is a topic that I get into with people who have actually been, who have actually graduated or been to film schools and stuff. And that is about film schools, exactly. Which is, do you think film schools and film schools and universities are essential for becoming a creative professional? Like if you're a editor or a graphic designer or even a music producer, do you think even going to film school and getting a degree there is essential?
I don't think it's essential. I think it'll help in the long run. Like, it'll definitely help knowing film knowledge, like studying film and studying even like music. If you study music theory, it'll definitely help, because I feel like there's they're both art forms, and art form it's super abstract. It's not something you can't really define, like music, to someone who's like never like experienced or like film, someone who's like never really looked into film. It's kind of hard to explain like what makes a film good to them. But if you study it, I think it'll definitely help. But I for sure don't think it's necessary. I feel like there's a lot of creative artists out there that can express their emotion and their art, without needing film school or anything like that.
So when I asked a similar question to Enigma, he said that his opinion of that is that it's good for professional work, but it doesn't really teach you anything. He says that when he was going to film school, he's actually still going to university for film, and he says that he hasn't learned anything regarding editing. It's most of the time he's telling the teachers shorter way to do stuff, but what it has helped with is professional terms. Like he says, I knew how to do something, but I didn't know what the professional term for that thing was, and going to university taught me that. So yeah, I mean, that kind of stuff does help. And obviously, with university, you have like a professional environment. If you're working on a film, then you have all those, like the knowledge of how a film set works and everything. So, in this sense, is it gonna help you advance more in your career?
I don't know, actually, because like when I went to that high school film school, it was one of the best. It was one of the best high schools in the state. But I feel like their film program was good, but it was their editing program that I felt was really just not it. I felt like the teachers there didn't really know what they were doing. The film teacher I had was a great teacher, but like the editing teachers there, they didn't really know what they were doing. I just felt like it was kind of like it wasn't for me.
All right. Because I have so basically the way I like kind of format this podcast is asking people questions and then comparing them to the answers that I've gotten from people in the past on the same podcast.
Yeah.
And since I'm just graduating school right now, and so I have to make choices right now regarding this. So I like to take a lot of people's opinions who have been through everything. So yeah.
Yeah.
So do you, like, if there was an editor with potential to grow in the industry, would you tell them to go to film school? Because like if there's someone who that it depends on your word if they're gonna go or not gonna go, would you recommend to go?
If they're really passionate about editing, then I would recommend, because I feel like if you have a degree in like anything film related or like editing related, if you have a degree in that, it'll just make finding jobs a lot easier, But like if they're going freelance, if they're freelance and they're already making, they've already made it with the freelance stuff, then I don't think film or I don't think like any future, not future. I don't think any other education would be necessary.
All right. Okay. So, are there any editors that inspire you exactly? Like, if you're bored or if you wanna make a new edit, is there any go-to editor that you look at and then you're like, okay, yeah, this is what I wanna become someday?
Yeah, definitely. I'd say the editor that inspires me the most right now would be Ein. I feel like Ein knows how to build up the atmosphere. He knows how to he definitely knows how to immerse the viewer into the edits, and that's what I want to do. I want to get people immersed in the edits. Like, I could make an edit and have like I could spend like 100 hours or so on the flow, but like it's only flow. If there's no build up in atmosphere or immersion in it, and I always say that word a lot, but like that's the best word to describe it, because I feel like being in the edit, like, because I feel like edits can be their own world. It's same with music. Music definitely is its own world. I feel like every song is its own world in music. If you truly listen to it and you truly like let yourself in that zone, like you put yourself in the song, it can be its own world. I feel like editing is somewhat the same, so I feel like, yeah, Ein, he knows how to do that, and yeah, that's the editor that probably inspires me the most.
Okay. Did you ever experience a phase where you're kind of working a lot, like you're working non-stop, and yeah, as I mentioned, your inspiration, but you feel no closer to your goal? Like, if you want to become like your inspiration, you don't feel any closer to being there. Has there been any time when you felt that?
I'm trying to think. There was a time when I felt like I wasn't getting anywhere, and like there was a time where I believed like there's no way I'm gonna be like any of these other editors. There's no way I can make it. But I just thought about practicing it more, and I tried practicing more. I even tried studying edits and stuff. Even film too, like movies and stuff. I take notes or watching movies, trying to figure out what makes it good. What makes an edit or a movie good, and there was a time like, yeah, where I did feel like it was, kind of just like almost pointless even, but I don't really have that mindset anymore.
All right. Also, anybody who's watching, we are almost 1 hour or so into the podcast, and because of all of the fuck ups today, my schedule is completely off. But what I'm going to be doing is, as regular viewers know, we have a viewer asking viewer questions segment at the end of the podcast. So if anybody has any questions, the tweet I made earlier was deleted because we changed what we're gonna do. So you can put them in the chat. I'm gonna read them after the last few points I have to discuss with them in the next 15 to 20 minutes, and then we're gonna do viewer questions for the last 20 minutes before we go off. So yeah, moving on from that. What were some difficulties that you might have faced during your editing, like when you started editing, or even your editing career as a whole? PC problems, family problems, anything pursuing editing? Did you face anything?
Well, for me, I feel like the biggest problem I faced with like this whole editing thing was definitely just anxiety and depression. Honestly, I have, well, I don't have it anymore, but I'll get into that later. Basically, for the longest time since I was about 5 years old, I had depression, anxiety, and like I was always scared of what others thought of my edits. I was always not like terrified, but like I just hated knowing that I created something that people genuinely don't like. Now I don't have that mindset anymore, like I said, but for a while, like the longest time, I wouldn't post any edits because I was afraid people would just dislike them and be like, yo, this is bad. And for a while it kind of was like that. I would get mean comments and stuff about my edits, and like I'm just extremely sensitive. I don't, it's my anxiety. I just have a bad anxiety disorder, so I was just really, really scared about what others thought of my edits.
So did you always have like a good PC? Or did you never face any problems regarding like specs and stuff?
Well, when I first started editing, I edited on a 32-bit, 2 gigabytes of RAM laptop. That was years ago. And then eventually I did get a PC. And then with the PC, that's when I started learning After Effects and stuff like that. I got into Cinema 4D, I used Cinema 4D on that laptop, believe it or not. Even though that laptop was so bad, I still was able to make like 3D intro templates on it. But I mean, I never really had any like hard drive failures, anything like that. Nothing too bad. I never like broke a PC or anything like that.
Yeah, I was wondering that this is something really confusing to me, literally. And I don't want to jinx it, but I've never had a project file corrupt. Like I've seen a lot of my friends are just always like my project file corrupted. Never has any of my project files corrupted. Has that happened to you?
I've had a few project files corrupted. Nothing too big. I've never had like a huge, massive project file corrupt. I've scrapped massive projects, but I've never had it like corrupt or fail on me. Nothing too big. Just like minor projects will corrupt. But it's usually my fault. It's usually because like I do something like I change a file or something dumb like that.
All right, so there's this question was something that was in my mind ever since I thought of inviting you. I wanted to ask, has there been any time when you made this parody video of an editor and they actually got mad about it?
No, I've never had anyone get mad over the parody videos. Thankfully, I'm sure it's gonna happen one day. I'm sure I'll make a video on a parody tutorial. And I'm sure they might not, they'll probably take it serious, but obviously it's just a joke, it's nothing serious. But yeah, luckily no one's gotten mad about him.
Do you ask for permission before uploading, or is it just reaction based?
No, usually I like to do it out of like a surprise, because like I like to do it where like nobody knows who it's gonna be, they'll be like all wondering like who's the next how to edit like gonna be, and I just like to just drop a video and just like surprise everyone, because like a Lely, for example, my recent one, I think only about maybe 4 people asked for him. And like there were probably more people asking for like Stu or even Enigma, but I thought I'd just surprise people. I think I tweeted it out ahead of time too, like a little bit ahead of time, but I don't think many people saw it. But yeah.
Do you have any plans for doing Enigma?
Yeah, I do.
An Enigma parody. Don't take that out of context, please, chat.
Yeah, for sure. I do plan on doing Enigma eventually. I'll parody on him. Yeah.
All right. That'll be fun. I want to see that. Okay. Moving on. Have you ever like directed or filmed anything in real life?
No, but I did get offered a lead editor spot on a movie, but so this was in 2019. In 2019, there was this company that reached out to me. And they found me from my tutorials, and they were saying they want to make me an editor on their movie. And it was actually legit. They had a whole website. They had everything set up. They sent me all the legal documents, they sent me all that stuff, they were going to offer me $6,000 for it. And eventually they didn't call back. They stopped calling back, so I figured they kind of just ghosted me, because like they sent me all the legal documents, and I was a minor at the time too, so they even had my parents sign some documents as well. But yeah, that was the only time I ever got offered anything. But I don't think I was gonna take it either way. They said I could get verified on Twitter and stuff like that because I'll have an IMDb profile, cool stuff like that. But I was just, like I said, I had an anxiety disorder, and I was scared I would screw up. I would screw something up because working on a movie is kind of a big thing. It's not every day you just can work on a movie, and the movie was going to show in some theaters too, so like I haven't heard about the movie. I kind of stopped looking it up, and like I'm trying to brush it under the rug, because honestly it kind of hurts me knowing that I lost an opportunity like that, so I try not to think about it.
All right, well, I'm sorry for bringing that up.
No, it's fine.
All right. So there's sometimes people with low editing skill, but they have like extremely high editing standards, and they'll criticize you about stuff that even they don't know how to do better. Do you think that's like a good trait or a bad trait? Like, would you like someone with that personality? Would you roll with it, or is it like something that you just shouldn't do?
I've met so many people like that, you know, because, you know, in my Discord server, we'll get people that'll just hop in the VC randomly. And then sometimes they'll, you know, you could tell like they're unironically genuinely like, they genuinely don't like an edit because of their own personal preference. Like I'll show them some crazy edits, you know, I'll show them my favorite edits, and they'll genuinely be like, nah, this ain't it, you know. But like then they show me like a Fortnite edit they made, and it's like, you know, it's a Fortnite edit, you know, with like no pan crop, no shakes, just like a CC and some basic, you know, velocity, and that's it. And I really don't like people like that, you know. I think eventually they're not going to be like that forever. I think one day they'll realize, you know, and they'll make a change. But for the most part, I don't think it's a good trait at all. Yeah.
All right, so that basically wraps up most of the topics that I had. We're gonna move over to chat. We're gonna interact a little more with chat today because you know, like a lot of fuck ups happened today, and nothing has gone according to my plan, and I'm sorry about that. But yeah, I mean, this year started crazy and it's gonna end crazy, and the last podcast, how could it ever go normal, you know? All right, so starting off with the rest of the stream is just gonna be interacting with chat, because if you guys want to ask anything, you gotta say anything to Out of Order, because I know a lot of us are big fans here, myself included. So yeah, first question I can see in the chat is by AK Looter, and he asks, is there any organization or team he just wants to work with?
No, actually, I don't really think there's any organization or team that I'd like to work with. Nothing really catches my eye. I mean, it would be cool to like one day work for, you know, something like Luminosity, but I'm not gonna like, you know, force myself to grind for them, you know. I feel like grinding for teams is kind of pointless, because, you know, you could grind for yourself, which is more important, you know. There's nothing, you know, investing in anything else is kind of pointless unless you're investing in yourself, you know. So if you're working towards your own goals, and like, I mean, if that is your goal, you know, if you genuinely do want to join a team, then you could work on yourself to eventually be able to work for that team. But I feel like, you know, if you're just like it's like the people that grind for like, you know, teams as like, you know, like the big teams as like a streamer, you know, you know, like only a select few will ever make it, you know. 99% of people aren't gonna get there eventually, I wouldn't say get there eventually, but like 99% of people aren't gonna join like FaZe, you know. And it's like, you know, I just feel like it's a lot better, it's a lot more efficient to spend your time, you know, working on yourself than trying to work for others, you know, like, because I feel like that it's like from you know, like a business point of perspective, it's like all the company, you know, the company just wants to like market and like, you know, earn a living from your work, you know. There are companies that do like support, you know, each other and stuff like that. But a majority of them, you know, I feel like they're low key using editors, you know. Some of them do use editors, you know. And that's just my thought.
All right, next question is by PvPKW2, and he asks, why are you so handsome? Any tips?
I don't know. I personally don't find myself handsome. I mean, like, I don't know. I think I'm pretty ugly. That's why I hide behind a microphone, you know. I don't like showing my face at all. But I still show my face, but yeah. I mean, I don't know. I think it's just my anxiety talking, you know. But you know, I appreciate it, dude.
Alright, next up we have a question by Source, the owner of Apollo. He asks, are there any edits you're planning to do in 2021 that you are particularly excited about?
Yeah, there is one edit. So my recent edit that I posted yesterday. There's more to that song, you know. That song that I use, there's more to it, you know. I feel like I said, music is probably the biggest part of an edit, in my opinion. Like, it all, like, a song can change the whole vibe. Like you're not gonna see a chill, smooth, clean edit to like a hardcore song, you know. So I want to try and make not a part 2, but like because there's more to that song. So I guess a part 2. I want to make a part 2 to the last edit I made, and that last edit, I'm pretty proud of it. Like a lot of the ideas I included in that edit, most of them, for an example, I feel like came from my own mind. I try to create something new. I'll give it that. I'm not saying I did create something new, because I'm sure what I did has probably been done before many times, but I thought about it. I tried to.
All right. PvP KW2 with another question. He says, can you make a Skives updated one and make jokes on if you know you know?
Nah, I'm not gonna do anything like that. I don't like drama at all.
Have you been keeping up with the stuff that happened?
Yeah, I have. I'm aware of everything, but like drama for me is a no-go. Yeah.
It's like the third time some editor's been caught doing this stuff.
Yeah.
But that's pretty fucked up, because I'm not gonna lie, Skives was a good editor, and yeah. Okay, AK Looter says, what game does he love the most to edit? CS, COD, whatever.
Definitely, I think CSGO, maybe not CSGO. I'd say BO2 and MW3 are my 2 favorite games to edit. CSGO is like 3rd place. I like editing CSGO, but I just don't like recording it, And for me it would be BO2, because BO2.
Yeah, any COD editors I know, they all just love editing BO2. I don't know what that is.
I feel like BO2. I think BO2 just has the best animations. It's one of the easiest games to edit, and I feel like you can do the most with BO2. There's so many tools made for it. Team A has made so many tools for BO2. Like, it's unreal the amount of tools they made for it. There's so much you can do. There's so many mods. Even like Ein, he's made like 4K like Ultra HD textures for BO2, and that just blows my mind. It's like, these editors are so dedicated to their craft, making these tools for games they love,
Yeah. Alright, BO2 is the best. Yeah, okay. I've only edited COD like I think 3 times. One was Terror Club HC, and a couple others just for practice, and I only edited CSGO once. But I never recorded any of these games. I wanted to get more into it, but now I'm more interested in 3D. So yeah, and I am editing a Valorant video for my team right now, and I'm having a lot of fun with Valorant. Valorant is a fun game to edit.
I've never edited it before.
You haven't?
No, I've never edited Valorant or anything. I don't even think I've edited. Let me think. No, I've edited everything. I think I've edited like most common games except Valorant. That's like the one game I've never tried editing.
Adro, I don't know, I think you guys are friends. Adro asks, would you like to go to TwitchCon with me, Brute Beer, Pheonix, and Crispy?
I do want to go to TwitchCon, yeah. TwitchCon is like one of my goals, I guess.
This year because of like the COVID stuff?
I'm not sure, but if it does happen, I probably will go to TwitchCon.
I was so mad when, like, me and my family, we go on a vacation thing, and like July, August, because I live in Asia, as I said, and like June, July stuff is really harsh. Like it's really hot here, so we go towards like mountainous areas just for a vacation, like 1-2 weeks, and that got cancelled because of COVID this year, and I was so mad because that's like my favorite time of year. Okay, AK Looter asks another question. He says, in what place are you seeing Valorant's editing community in the years to come?
I think if they do make like a replay mode like they said they were going to, I feel like Valorant would probably explode in editing. It would probably be like maybe not as big as Fortnite editing, but it would be like, maybe somewhat close, games like BO2 and like MW and MW3 and like CS:GO, they're well edited, they're popular, but they're nowhere near as popular as like games like Fortnite and Valorant,
I mean, I guess like BO2 and MW3, all these games have had their time, and there's way less of a player base there now. You basically get no client work on those games. and that's probably why a lot of people edit Fortnite. And this is why the Valorant editing will be good, because all the CS and COD editors that don't come to Fortnite because of its cartoonic style and being third person. I don't know, I have had people say that they don't switch because they don't like editing third person. So that could be good for editors that have massive potential but just don't like to edit Fortnite. Valorant could help that out a lot. And like it did Enigma. I mean, Enigma was picked up to Liquid, one of the biggest organizations in the world. So
yeah.
And similar for Starker, Hamoud, and Tafa. I think they were working for FaZe before that, even with the COD Warzone and stuff. But yeah, Valorant is definitely gonna be huge. That's what I know. I mean, it's stupid because I didn't even know about the game until 2 weeks before. I heard about Project A when this was leaked as Project A. This game was leaked as Project A before its initial Valorant release, and then there was just so much hype all of a sudden. I did not understand how they built it, but they did a really good job at marketing their own game. So yeah, that was pretty good. Another question from AK Looter. He says, "Can you make a good montage with just some beats?" I guess no lyrics. He means.
Yeah, you definitely could. I think I've seen some montages that are just some beats. Like it's gonna be a lot harder. I feel like it'll be so much harder, but it's definitely possible.
I was also wondering about Cyberpunk's editing scene.
I've seen one of my friends made a crazy Cyberpunk editing. I see so much potential in Cyberpunk being well edited. There's no way to get cinematics, but you could definitely pull off something crazy with just the POVs on Cyberpunk.
Yeah, but how GTA 5 has mods and you can do all the cool stuff, like watching Ice VIP. It's so cool what he does in his edits, and I wanted to see something like that with Cyberpunk. And now they're not even implementing an online system because apparently they got sued by their own investors. I don't know. It's a whole big drama, and so people are making fun of the game because they spent a whole decade on the game just to get sued by their own investors, and then having to refund people who didn't enjoy the game. There was so much drama after the game's release. I enjoyed it personally, but I mean, obviously everybody has their opinions. But yeah, so back to sort of editing. Okay, AK Looter asks, what game would you recommend a newbie in editing to edit? I mean, okay, you can answer
I feel like
I have an answer to this too. So
okay, I feel like any game if you're using prereqs, but if you want to record your own clips, I'd say MW3 or BO2 simply because they're the easiest. I wouldn't recommend CS. I feel like CS is one of the harder games to edit because there's no GUI. It's most of it is just entering commands, entering a config, and then using keybinds and stuff, which is it works, but if you want the easiest game, I'd say BO2 or MW3 because those just have probably the most support too. A lot of people know how to fix most of the common issues on there, and there's some decent amount of tutorials. I made tutorials for both of them, and yeah, I'd say those are the easiest ones to edit.
Alright, so my opinion is a little different. I think that literally every editor that I've asked about how and when they started to edit, they had a similar answer regarding, I used to play this game, I used to enjoy it, and I started editing it. So, in my opinion, it's just whatever you're enjoying at the time, you edit that. Because at the end of the day, when you start out at an editing, you're just enjoying yourself. So, if you don't enjoy yourself with the game that you're editing, you don't enjoy the game, you're not gonna enjoy editing it, and when you don't enjoy editing it, you're not gonna pursue editing as a whole. So
yeah,
it's important to enjoy yourself when you edit. Otherwise, you're not gonna be able to have that fun or that creativity in your edits. But yeah, that's my opinion. So since you have a little bit of let's say experience, and you've grown 12,000 subscribers on YouTube, which is really rare for an editor, at least. Most editors don't go above 3-4K, and even that is like years of work. What do you think, like how like the YouTube and like the brands nowadays, how they work? How do you think it's possible to grow efficiently in today's social algorithms? I don't know exactly, but
I feel like these editors, like especially in the frag community, they're all so underrated. So many frag editors, they're artists, all right, and I think art is just the art of editing is just beautiful. Like that's just me, because I know some some people will be like, they only want they care about a certain aspect, which isn't really the editing, but rather what's being edited, like the clips, or like if it's a music video, it's almost like the music itself. But these editors, I feel like the best way to grow on something like YouTube would just be either tutorials or editing something that people like, that the common audience would see, which would be like music videos, maybe short films. Even I've seen some short films that are amazing, but like I feel like 99% of people in this world are never going to search up BO2 edit or even MW3 edit, because those games are so old. Valorant and Fortnite you could grow off of too, because I've gotten so many people DM me saying stuff like, you should try editing Fortnite, you'll blow up if you do. But like me, I don't really see Fortnite editing the same way I see BO2 or CS. I see them a lot more a lot more, I guess, artistic. But that sounds really shallow of me to say because I don't edit Fortnite. But like for example, there's a lot of editors that put their emotion into edits, like they truly do express what their mind is thinking in edits. I've only done that maybe once or twice. I made a purple edit about like 3 months ago. That purple edit had the most, it had the most, I guess, connection to like me as a person. Like my emotions were basically what empowered me to make that edit, because that song meant the world to me. All right, the song that I made that purple edit to, and I refer to it as the purple edit because I'm too scared to say its name, but I'll get to that later. For example, how do I explain this? Basically, like I said, I had depression and like severe depression, and it wasn't fun at all. Basically, stuff happened, and then one day I also got my heart broken. But when that happened, I listened to that purple edit song. I listened to it every day. All right, the song I made that edit to, I listened to that song every single day for a whole year. And like basically, I would just do you care about like profanity on your stuff?
No, I don't really filter.
Okay, so I'm probably gonna go like a little unfiltered, not too unfiltered, nothing that's gonna get you like in trouble. But basically, there's a story to it. There's a story to that edit. The story is, one day I got my heart broken and I was so sad, and your sadness, it finds comfort in music. Like I don't know if you've noticed this, but I think anyone with depression will notice that when you're depressed, you tend to like cling to like sad songs, and it's the music is their own whole world. And for me, it was that song that I edited to. I listened to it every day outside in the shed for hours. I would get super high and listen to that song. And then one day I listened to that song while tripping, and then like it kind of traumatized me. Like it gave me minor PTSD. I would have flashbacks to it, stuff like that. It wasn't fun. But that's the reason why I scrapped it, because a lot of people always ask me like, dude, this is your best edit, you spent months on this edit, why would you scrap it? It's already like 2 minutes long. And the reason was because I guess I don't encourage any use of any substances or anything, but one of the biggest, I guess, inspirations from my recent edits would be psychedelics. I dove down that rabbit hole, and I always discourage everyone from using them because they will traumatize you if you're not careful. But that's what inspired, and not inspired, but that's what I guess controlled me into making the edits, that I make now. So like I said, that song, it meant everything to me. It you know it it fed my sadness, if that makes any sense. And I edited it to it, and then one day I listened to it tripping, and I was so scared because it just like traumatized me. I wasn't the same afterwards, so it scared me so much. I didn't want to feed any more sad emotions into the edit, so that's why I scrapped it. And that's the story behind that edit. I just thought I'd share it, because a lot of people, ask me why I scrapped it, and that's the reason why, because it was feeding my emotions too much, and I put too much emotion into a freaking Call of Duty 4 edit, and that sounds stupid saying it like that. It sounds really dumb when I say it like that, like, my emotions were so attached to an edit, but I truly believe editors can express their real emotions through editing. And same goes for music too, it's the exact same with music.
I mean, it's sometimes when you talk about sensitive stuff, especially mental health, stuff that there's things that mean a lot to you, but to others they sound stupid. Having gone through that myself a bit recently, I do understand that, but I'm not sure if everybody else will. But whenever you go through stuff in life, you start understanding this a lot more. Especially because most of our audiences here are not too old. I mean, I'm myself just only 16 years old. I'm pretty sure most of my audience here is about like 12 to 17. There's not going to be much older than those, except like one or two people. All right. AK Looter asks, how do you feel when you don't get expected views or don't get enough clients, and how do you deal with it?
The views, I don't really, views and clients don't really bother me. I just edit for fun. I just try and express, what my mind is processing. As long as there's someone there that watched it and enjoyed it, that's all that matters. Even if a majority of people don't like it, and there's been times where I'll make an edit and a majority of people won't like it, but as long as there is someone that genuinely enjoys it, then like my goal is complete.
Okay, AK Looter with another question. He asks, if you had to choose one editing software for the rest of your life, will it be After Effects or Vegas? Like you said, you use both of them, but if you had to choose one,
I would choose After Effects. I mean, it's still possible to do SFX and After Effects. It just won't be as good. But Vegas, I used it when I was younger, but then I kind of stopped using it for like a few years. Like when I was like 13, I used Vegas, but I kind of lost touch with Vegas because I found After Effects, and I just overall prefer After Effects.
The same thing happened with me. In 2019, I started with Vegas, and then towards the end, I think in October or November, I switched to After Effects, and I have not touched Vegas since. So yeah, IK Looter says, sorry, I am going out of topic here, but where are you from? I'm pretty sure
I'm from the United States.
Yeah, and you also live near Cuddy. I know from your time zones because you're in the same time zone.
Oh, really?
Yeah, it was really hard to schedule stuff with Cuddy because he sleeps early too. So
yeah, my sleep schedule's all over the place.
Yeah. So for him, I'm pretty sure it was 12 a.m. midnight, and for me it was 12 p.m. Which was like basically noon, and I was so worried I wasn't gonna be able to like make this work, but it worked somehow. And he, because of this 12 a.m. thing, he misunderstood that it would be 12 a.m. Sunday for him, but it would be 12 a.m. Saturday and 12 p.m. Sunday for me, and it was such a big confusion, and we actually had to delay the podcast by a whole day.
Wow.
So yeah, this is why I want to switch to like recording, because timings are really annoying to deal with.
Yeah.
But yeah, I also have, starting next year, I have the next 3 weeks guests already booked for everybody's watching. Y'all can get excited, and let me tell y'all, they are big guests. All right, they're big guests. Like I mean, OUTOFORDER, we're not going down from here. I mean, obviously it's been an honor to get people like you and Enigma and Starker on the podcast, because like when I started this back in September and October, I could have never even imagined that I would be able to talk to people as in a VC asking questions and interviewing stuff, but it's happened, and I mean, there's no one I can really thank except for the people that supported the podcast and the few people that actually supported me going through with this, because as I said, there were people that said that you're gonna get made fun of, but there were only a couple people that actually motivated me to go through with the idea, and I did, and here we are. But yeah, Aikilur asks another question. He says, how much time do you spend on an edit?
I say on average I spend maybe 5 days on an edit. My recent one I spent about maybe 2 weeks on. The one before it, the purple edit, I spent like 2 months on. And then yeah, I'd say on average it's usually like 5 days to a week. That's usually how long.
Alright, so I think that's about it. I mean, we're at the time that yeah, okay, we can safely end today's podcast. If anybody else has questions, you can put them in the chat and we'll answer them before going off. Otherwise, this will be the end of the Editor Podcast. Not the Editor Podcast. I said the name wrong myself. Oh god. The Editor Cast, episode 10, the last episode of this year. I have big plans for next year. I mean, this year was absolutely fucking crazy. I started with 0 this year. On my Twitter and on my YouTube, I had like 70 something, and on Twitter now I have 1,040 followers. On YouTube here we just hit 550. So that's crazy. Thank you all so much for the support. Thank you, Out of Order, for taking time.
It's no problem, man. I'm glad to be on here.
But it still means a lot taking time out of your day, or like for you it's night. Yeah, it's it means a lot. And question: how to get recognition?
How to get recognition? I'd say just honestly, I'd say the best way to do it is to submit to like other communities, and like work with other communities, because like the editing community, it may be small, but there's still like communities within the community, So like if you can just branch out and meet new people, you'll eventually make like a group of friends in the editing scene that'll like, that'll support your editing, and you eventually your name will get out there, if you just keep practicing.
All right. Well, yeah, that was it for the last podcast of this year. I don't know how many times I've said that, but yeah, I'll see you all next year with the first episode of 2021. Thank you all so much for watching. Thank you once again, or Out of Order, for coming. I mean, when I saw your comment, I went absolutely crazy. That meant a lot. But yeah, thank you so much for the support. And I'll see you all next year, probably now. And bye.